Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. It is, June the 25th, June the 24th. It's 11 a.m. Central European Time, and we have an awful lot of housekeeping to get through before we get into the stream. Now, some of the housekeeping we're going to have to do at the end because we need more people watching this, but there is a little bit of housekeeping I want to do now. First of all, Binanceans. There are a plethora of other streamers currently streaming a quant exchange, for use of a better word. They're putting QR codes up on the screen, and unfortunately, this is a well-known scam. So after you've watched us and you stagger across one of these videos, please report it. We have been reporting them today, and we reported them yesterday. There's been about 5 or 6 live streams in the last 24 hours that are nothing other than links to a quantitative trading platform, which many of you will not know, and many of you are new to crypto, but they are scams. You'll put your money in, you'll never get it back. It's also against the terms of service on Binance. If you come across any of them, please be aware, don't go near them. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is I need to have a chat to you about the Crypto Warehouse Ambassador Program. We are launching a Crypto Warehouse Ambassador Program from July, and we are looking for 2 to 3 ambassadors to work with us. You need experience. You need a blue check mark on X, but you do not need to be the greatest social media presence in the world. You don't need to know graphics, you don't need to know charts, you just have to have energy. So we're going to probably do a little bit more of that at the end when a few more people are here. We've already spoken to one person who was the person we wanted to do it anyway. We've already spoken to them. So we're on the lookout for 1 to 2 others to do that with. Now, as I said, we'll go through that at the end. Also, there is no stream tomorrow at 11 o'clock because we are streaming tomorrow night. We are doing our Mew quiz. This, I believe, is the 4th consecutive quiz. And as I said yesterday, we're probably going to have a break the week after. Although we are talking to somebody who might want us to do a live stream next Wednesday. So maybe we're not going to get away with that. Mew is tomorrow night. Some of the questions are hard. Some of the questions are easy. You're not going to get them all right. Some of them are so obscure that you're going to groan in chat. And for a few of you out there that were here last week, not all the answers are going to be number 1 this week. I'm going to give you a clue. There's roughly 10 A's, roughly 10 B's, and roughly 10 C's. That's how we're going to play it this week, just to make sure there's no confusion. So that's tomorrow night. Crypto Warehouse Ambassador Program, that is launching in July. And if you are on Binance, please do not be fooled by the quant trading platforms. They are scams. I've made videos about 5 or 6 of them. I've shown you their offices in Eastern Europe. I've shown you that their actual licensing to trade doesn't exist. I've contacted the financial services agency in the UK about them. They don't exist. They're going to take your money off you. So be very, very careful. Now, a few good mornings. Bullish Bullies in chat. KB is here. Hidden is here. Danny is here. A good morning to you all. I hope you're having a lovely day. I suppose now we've done all of that excitement, it's too much excitement for me, we should probably head over and have a look at the charts. Now, the internet here has been playing up a little bit. And the reason for that is we had a thunderstorm last night this morning about 1 a.m. So everything appears to have gone off and come on again. So we're a little bit slow today. Do apologise. But it's not going to be as heavy as the stream yesterday. The stream yesterday was super, super heavy. There's not too many things we're going to talk about today in terms of charts. If you look on the right-hand side, you'll see what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about pump. We're going to talk about the Fed drop. We're going to talk about the ETH chart. No article on that, just the ETH chart. We're going to talk about midnight. This is super exciting. If anything you take away from this stream today, it's the midnight airdrop. We're going to talk about a couple of projects from the deep in sector that we don't really talk about them, But sexy things don't always make the most money. We're going to talk about dupe up or down. I think the markets have already beaten me to it. I think we're up 18% today already. And then we're going to talk about the UFISD. What could that possibly be? But before any of that, let's do some charts. Sorry, let's do some prices. Let's do some X-Files and let's get into it. Bitcoin then, coming in, 105,000. We're only down 1%, 1.5% on the week. And considering what's going on right now, that's not a bad price, is it? Now, KB wants us to send it. I think we're going to bang our heads, hurt our heads, and come down for a little bit. But maybe not before we do an all-time high. That's what I want. I want my all-time high in June. That's what I've been saying all along. Maybe we get it the first week of July. Maybe I'm wrong. I have been known to be wrong by the weeks a few times. We wanted all-time highs in April. We got them in May. Maybe we get the all-time high in July before the summer lull. But we need another all-time high above 112,000 for me to be happy. If I'm not happy, don't know what to tell you. Ethereum coming in at $2,400. XRP back at 220. I say the same things all the time. The same prices. 220. Solana back above 143. That'll head towards 150 if we can keep this. And Cardano heading back towards 60 cents, which is its safe place. Safe space, sorry. So each of these coins has its own prices where it likes to hang around during times of uncertainty. And depending on how bullish the market is, those are different prices. 220, 250 for XRP, 60 cents, 80 cents for Cardano. Sound like a stuck record again. Ethereum is the same. 2,400 is more important than 2,500 for Ethereum. So be glad that we're back at that. Now, there's going to be an awful lot of Glorias today. Say, ripping up trees. Again, what did I call this coin? Called it dead. Why did I call it dead? Because it hasn't done anything for a very long time. Maybe there's some news that's come out that we don't know about. Sonic, I know, is absolutely ripping to the upside because I think they have just launched on Base and not launched on Base, sorry. They've launched on the blue and white American crypto exchange. So Sonic has been added to there. So they're getting the CB pump, as it's called. Virtuals is up a little bit. Jupiter, again, we were talking about this yesterday at 33 cents. I told you, it makes money. The project makes money. If all the people unsubscribe from the dupe staking and sell and get out, do you know what that means? That means that 50 million dupe drop that happens every quarter goes to fewer people. And if it goes to fewer people, you get more dupe. It's simple. I don't think dupe is a 30 or 40 cent coin. I still think right now, today, this very minute, it should be $1. I'm not going to tell you it's going to go to $10, but it should be $1. Arbitrum is up a little bit. Pudgy is everywhere. We've got a little tweet about them. SPX is back at 122. Lots of nice gainers today. And remember, a lot of the times when we've had a dump, look at the coins that pump straight after. They are normally the most desirable coins that people like. Losers, again, Tether, Gold, Pax Gold. That's it. Not many losers today. Not many. In fact, there is not a single red token today. That's fantastic. I'm not going to get happy. You're never going to see me smile on this channel. That is not what I am here for. If you want smiling, go and find yourself a 20-odd-year-old who has to sleep 4 hours a day and trades 16 hours a day, because it ain't going to be me. Not on a Tuesday morning after a thunderstorm. Good morning, Mags. I hope you are well. Let's move on very quickly before people start to fall asleep again. This, I think, is the Pudgy... Oh, no. Congratulations. It's time for peace. And the title of the show today is Give Peas a Chance. Okay? I happen to like peas an awful lot. They are one of my favourite vegetables. And Donald Trump says it's time for peas. It's time for peas. There is some breaking news that there are some of those types of things going from one place to another. Again, it could just be bluster and noise. But you never know. You never know. The price isn't reacting too well. Oh, sorry, the price isn't reacting too badly considering what we might have. Now, this... I've got a couple of tweaks from Eric. This is more applicable to crypto because it's more volatile than it is to stocks and shares. And he's going through all of the things we've had this year under Trump's presidency. We've had Sell America. That was a big thing. Do you remember that? It won't last. Massive thing. Sell in May and go away. Moody's downgrade. We had the June gloom. Trump, Elon spat. And now we have what's going on now. And the S&P and Bitcoin. I said weeks ago, if we can hold $103,000, I am happy. I am super happy. We had a wick to 98,500. I'm still happy. If the bears can't push this ball of air down with all of this, then we should be bullish. But we should also remember that the cycle always points towards a summer lull. So I am a slightly bearish bull. As I said yesterday, the price is going up doesn't affect how I think about Bitcoin and crypto. The price is going down doesn't affect how I think about Bitcoin. Depends on where we are in the cycle. Now, what was that tweet about? That was Hodl Capital. Not too sure what that tweet was about. Like I said to you yesterday, there's a lot of tweets that are getting deleted more and more these days, and I don't know why people don't just post and leave it. I don't know why there has to be so much taken down these days. The S&P, there's the same tweet. I've pasted the same tweet twice. Anyway, let's move on. This is the one with Pudgy Penguins. Now, they are an annoying meme coin. That's how I'd classify Pudgy. They're annoying. They just get everywhere. They're a little bit like the Cheeky Girls or Jedward. Do you remember Jedward? Lipstick, all that nonsense. They just show up and you don't want them there. They're annoying. I mean, they do these big things now, the NASDAQ opening bell, and they invite people along to ring the bell. And there we are with Van Eck. And Van Eck have invited Pudgy Penguins along. I mean, again, okay, we are not living in a simulation. We are also not Disneyland. Why have we got a man dressed up as a penguin jumping up and down? He hasn't even got any paws. How is he going to ring the bell? With his beak? BNB MicroStrategy coming to a company near you. This is a new trend. Good morning, Tariq. I hope you are well. Now, this is a new trend. We were contacted, and I can't bring it up because I don't want to show you the messages. We were contacted a couple of weeks ago by a Sonic strategy. And what they are doing is they are listed on a stock exchange. They are a valid business. And what they are doing is copying the MicroStrategy playbook for Sonic. There is another group of companies who are doing it for Solana. There's another group of companies doing it for Ethereum. And now there's going to be a company doing it for BNB. And as CZ pointed out yesterday, BNB is not directly associated with Binance. Okay, it's its own chain, stands on its own 2 feet. And this BNB MicroStrategy playbook is going to come to 50 or 100 companies. The Solana strategy will go to another 50 or 100 companies. The Ethereum might go to a few more, and of course Bitcoin is going to go to everyone. But there are other nation states, which we've mentioned on here, that hold BNB, and they hold Bitcoin. Now, why BNB? BNB is boring. It goes up slowly, it goes down slowly, and when it moves, it moves. Nobody remembers it at $200, and it was not that long ago. And nobody will notice it going to $1,000, but it will. Not going to go to $5,000 or $10,000, but it might go to $1,000 pretty soon. It's got a burn mechanism in place that burns an awful lot of BNB. It doesn't have a great deal of emissions because it pays out 0.3, 0.5%. But BNB is a steady rock. Okay? It's stoic. It's pragmatic. It doesn't do anything but slowly move. Okay? So BNB is actually a really good coin to have for a strategy play. Sonic, I was buying it at 50 cents and said it was a good price. It's now at 35 cents. had you invested in that company, the share price would be all over the place. So expect to see more and more companies copy strategy, maybe in different currencies. It's just what's going to happen. I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, but if I had a choice of holding my money in dollars or euros or BNB, I would certainly be looking at BNB. Maybe not Sonic, maybe not some of the smaller coins out there, but I'd certainly be looking at BNB. Now then, let's move on. Now, one thing I want to get off my chest. I don't like him, okay? I don't like him. Just to give you a bit of a background of this chap, he had his own YouTube channel, and him and his mates would invite people onto the show and laugh at them, okay? And it was childish, schoolground behaviour, okay? And he wore his T-shirts, and he gave it the big I am, and he gave it all of this, and then he disappeared. And then he came back with a suit and tie on. And now, this very same gentleman is part of a consortium that is going to go public with a $1 billion SPAC deal. And I think they're going to buy $750 million worth of Bitcoin. Now, sometimes I'll sit here and say it couldn't have happened to a nicer person, okay? Because I think good people should be rewarded. I think smarmy 12-year-olds should not be rewarded with massive projects associating themselves with them. That's just the way it is. Now, I'm not saying he can't change. I'm not saying he did it. I'm not saying it wasn't a character. But demeaning people on a live stream is not the way anybody should operate, in my humble opinion. So I'm getting that off my chest first. And like I said, I've got my own opinions. I don't expect any of you to agree with them. They're just my opinions. And what Pomp, as he's called, is trying to do is take ProCap Bitcoin public through a $1 billion merger with Columbus Circle Capital Corp, a SPAC backed by an affiliate of Cohen and Company. Now, I can't remember the actual names of this. It's a special something company. That's what it stands for. So basically, the firm's raised $550 million. They're going to get another 225 in convertible notes. And again, I'm highlighting this, not for me to have a go at him, but the fact that these types of companies are, again, they're going to pop up. Don't think for 1 second that strategy has a monopoly on the strategy playbook. Just because you write the playbook doesn't mean somebody else can't go and copy it. So you're going to see an awful lot of these until we get to the point of fatigue, at which point are we going to have too many of these SPACs, of too many of these companies that don't do anything but hold Bitcoin? Because that's what they are. They're proxy Bitcoin companies. That's all they do. Okay, MicroStrategy, which is now technically split in two, that makes a fraction of the revenue, or the wealth, sorry, that Bitcoin makes it. So why does that exist? It's just a proxy. So they're going public, they're going to get $1 billion, they're going to spend $750 million on Bitcoin. Again, what's important to take away from this is the fact that there is going to be $750 million worth of Bitcoin taken off the market. If there are 100 of those companies made, think of the numbers, think of how much less Bitcoin there's going to be. It's all a game of hungry hippos, if you like hungry hippos, or it's all a game of the donkey one. We're going to move on. I've got a lot to get through, and I don't want to be as not technical. I don't want to be as numbers oriented as I was on Monday. Yeah, he did. He did. I mean, the thing is, you've got a lot of these streamers: Crypto Wendio, Pomp, George, BitBoy Crypto, the OGs, if you want to call them that. They shield the other one as well, Invest Answers. I think I don't watch him anymore. They shield Celsius. They shield FTX. They shield BlockFi. Now, I'm not saying that they knew that any of those things were going to go to the wall. Of course not. How could they have known that? But deleting the videos and deleting every reference to Celsius and FTX and things like that. Deleting all of that and pretending it never happened, that's also wrong. Okay? So you own your own, you deal your cards, or you're dealt your cards, and they're your cards. And you can't just suddenly hide your cards under the table and say you've got nothing to do with it. Invest Answers was all over Celsius. It used to get Alex Mashinsky on every other week. BitBoy had him on. Crypto Wendio had him on. These people are not without sin, even though they pretend to be whiter than white by putting a suit or a blouse on, doing the hair back, and putting, making themselves look more shaven. I could do with a shave. Doesn't make them any better. They're the same person inside. And believe you me, if somebody offered him a great big bag of money to promote, I don't know, ice cubes, he'd sell you ice cubes. Federal Reserve drops reputational risk from bank supervision. This, again, not technically super important, but is important to you. What does this mean? It means that the Fed, if you held crypto or crypto was part of your business, they would add a risk level to your rating. Crypto firms welcome the move, often linking reputational risk to past banking access challenges. So if you were a bank and you had, 20 different crypto companies using you, the Fed or the auditors or whoever would turn around and say your risk level is too high. The same with mortgages. If you've got too many mortgages as a bank, the regulators will tell you to calm down. You've got too many mortgages. You need to diversify. You need to have different areas. And now that that's been removed, it's great for crypto companies, because instead of the bank only being allowed to have 20 crypto companies, they can have 20,000, 200,000, okay? Now, of course, this couldn't have happened 4 years ago. It's all well and good saying it's all to do with Trump. The market wasn't mature 5 or 6 years ago. It's more mature now. We're at a $3 trillion market cap. We're probably never going to go anywhere near $1 trillion or lower ever again. So we're over 3 trillion. Maybe we go to 6, 8, 10 trillion. It's a big business now. And taking the shackles off banks means that crypto companies can now coexist with traditional finance companies. So again, it's a good thing. And, again, it's going to take time. And we are going to see the likes of HSBC and the others banning companies and kicking them out. And it's all going to happen. But we just need to be aware that, you can blame an auditor and you can blame the Fed all you want. But when a brand new type of business comes along, a brand new market comes along, they need training. These things don't happen overnight. It's going to take 18 months, 2 years for people to get the experience to understand. And what is an auditor's job? An auditor's job or a regulator's job is to make sure that the end user isn't being scammed. That's going to be really hard to teach them when they've been so used to traditional businesses for the last 20 or 30 years. It's just one of those things. Now then, let's move on very quickly. We did the Bitcoin chart yesterday. And the one thing we said about the Bitcoin chart was we gave you the levels of where we could go to. Now, again, if you watch anybody and they tell you that Bitcoin is going here or Bitcoin is going there, they don't know. They don't know. And the reason they don't know is we don't know if anyone's going to press a button. We don't know if buttons are going to get pressed. We don't know if people are going to kick off. We don't know what's going to happen. So anyone that gives you surety of direction, in my opinion, is dangerous. Now, based on what's happened and based on the de-escalation, we should go higher. Okay, that's my feeling. But as we're speaking now, there are things going from A to B. And we don't know what the result of going from A to B and landing is going to be. So we have to take everything with a pinch of salt. As we're speaking now, this Ethereum chart could go to $2,300 or below. We don't know. So we can only have a look at the chart and see where we are. Now, Ethereum, actually, over here, we were all really happy, weren't we? Because we had a $1,700 Ethereum. We were telling you it was undervalued, and then suddenly it gets back above the bull market support band, and everybody is happy. Okay, and you see those three white lines going across the screen. They're kind of like the price areas from previous times, worse times and better times than now, depending on where you are in the world. And what did Ethereum actually do throughout this panic? Well, a lot of people don't look at the bull market support band, and then a few people do. And I'm one of those people that likes it. We came down and we wicked to the bottom of the bull market support band. And then, when everything seems to have been de-escalated, we went directly back above the bull market support band. And we came and we're now sitting on top of it. And this is all bullish. And if you look here, it's been bouncing off our trend line, came down, jotted us up, came down again, bounced all the way up here, and now we're back at this kind of mid-range level, which is 2400. The top of this range, by the way, I've got about 2800. The bottom of this range here, I've got at about 2150. So it's about a $650 range. 2425 is kind of the middle. 28 is the top. Now, breaking 28 and going above 3,000, I've been saying for ages, we get the proof of stake rewards, emissions for the Ethereum ETFs. I think that pushes us above 3,000. It's a massive, massive deal, that one. Okay? Might not be talked about in the markets, but it would set the precedent for everything else. It sets the precedent for Solana. It sets the precedent for Cardano. It sets the precedent for every other proof of stake ETF that ever comes again. So if Ethereum gets the proof of stake rewards added to the ETFs, its price is going to go up. The ETFs, I was trying to find you a really simple chart to show you the inflows into the Ethereum ETFs, and I can't find a really simple one. I find many, many Bitcoin ones, but it's very difficult to find a simple Ethereum one. And the inflows are incredible. BlackRock and the gangs, they're all buying Ethereum, but it's not having that much of an effect on price yet because there is a little bit more supply on exchanges than there is of Bitcoin. But we're sitting at a great price. Now, if we go up, where do we go? We go to $2,800. That's been my price there for ever and a day. If we go down, where do we go? Well, this, I believe, if I look, this was the tariff price range, okay? The tariffs where Trump was ending the world. The bottom of this range was about $1,400. It's going to take an awful lot to get us back down there. Now, if we get the ETF staking, we're going to go above 2,800, in my opinion, go towards 3,000, and then we spend the summer, maybe we spend the summer going sideways and down, holding 28, 3,100, something like that. Before September or October, whenever that happens to be, we start that crank up again. So Ethereum, for me, I am happy with where we are. The RSI isn't super high. We've tested the bull market support band with a think about what's just gone on in the last 4 days. Think about that and then look at where Ethereum is and look at where Bitcoin is. Okay, we could be a lot lower. If Bitcoin was at $97,000 now, Ethereum was at $2,100, it would not surprise me. But we didn't. We held the line. Okay, so for me, Ethereum is in a good spot. It's the middle of that range of the previous price action, which is what I look at a lot of the time. We're at $2,500. We've got a nice target to go to, which is $2,800, and we've got really good support. What we don't want to do, of course, is start breaking below this line here at $2,100, because that could be a move down towards $1,800, $1,900. We don't want that. We want to go up before we come down again. So what we want to do, and I think I drew this on the Bitcoin chart yesterday, we want to get somewhere here. And then, if we do get there by the summer, we kind of do this. Okay? And along the way, we want to see the inflation rates come down. By the way, the oil price has already come down, 15-20%. So oil prices are back under control. The Strait, was it the Strait of Hormuz or something like that? That's not going to be closed. So that's all positive. That's not going to have a massive impact on energy costs, which is not going to have an impact on inflation. So all of that is nice and tidy. July the 9th, we said this yesterday, we've got China, we've got America talking to each other. There'll be a deal done there. That's what Donald Trump wants. He wants to close. That'll be sorted out. And then it's rate cuts. Rate cuts and money supply, they're the next big things. So I'm happy with where we are. I wasn't super unhappy with how we handled this situation. Because like I said yesterday, this was tariffs, and this was bad. This was such a shock to the economy and the system. This is, thankfully, in the words of Donald Trump, a 12-day issue. And hopefully it will be a 12-day issue. And hopefully we don't see escalation from here. But if we do see escalation, then we're probably going to come back down to 21.50, 21, first stop. But it's so hard. I mean, I know we could sit here and say we're going to go up and to the right, but why would I say that? I don't think we're going to go up and to the right unless we get closure. Closure is always a positive. Now let's move on very quickly. This is the big one. Yeah, you could call them the Bad Bunch. I mean, I started out watching. Who did I watch first? Crypto Wendio, BitBoy. Who did I watch initially? BitBoy and Crypto Wendio I was watching. And because I didn't realize that people streamed on YouTube to do with crypto. I had no idea. So I started off watching them, and I didn't really like Wendio that much. I liked BitBoy because I thought it was entertaining. Anyway, this is a big one. This is the takeaway. There's 2 airdrops coming from the Cardano system. And the most important thing is the snapshot was taken on June the 11th. It's over. Don't go out and buy Cardano today thinking that you can get involved, because it's not going to work. June the 11th was the snapshot. What you held on June the 11th determines how much of these 2 tokens you get. And Knight is going to go to, without reading this article, I think it's 38 million wallets are going to get this airdrop. Okay? I think you need a minimum of $100 of other tokens outside of the major tokens to get an airdrop, but it's going to go to so many different communities, whether it be people holding Bitcoin, whether it be people holding Ethereum, or even Cardano. So it's going to go everywhere. Now, the one thing we don't know is we don't know how exchanges are going to deal with this airdrop, because it's only just been announced. So don't go harassing Binance, asking them when you're going to get the airdrop, because they probably don't know, probably still trying to work it out. I've got Cardano everywhere. I've got it in 3 different places. I've got Bitcoin in 3 different places. I've got Ethereum in 2 different places. I've got Solana in God knows how many different places. So how many airdrops am I going to get? Are they just going to literally land on me from a great height in all of these different places? Nobody knows the answers yet, so don't ask in chat, because nobody really knows. But there's 2 types of airdrop. One is to do with transactions, and the other is to do with privacy. That is what I know so far. And also it'll be XRP holders as well. So the token will be 100%, sorry, the privacy-based blockchain will make 100% of its 44 billion tokens, I didn't realize that, available to claimers. So it's fully distributed, probably from day one. Enable users will at least $100 of supported assets as of the snapshot. So if you have $100 in Bitcoin or Ethereum or Cardano or XRP on Solana, you're getting this airdrop. There are going to be people who miss out on this. Maybe you've got your Bitcoin wrapped and you're using it on a DeFi platform like Aave and it can't recognize it. Doesn't matter. It's too late. Okay? You're going to miss out. But if you hold any of those assets, you're going to win. Now, I watch a guy called Crypto Crow, Jason, can't remember his surname. But Jason is probably the biggest Cardano, I don't know what you would call him, influencer. And he did a big video about this yesterday, which I didn't really catch a lot of. But basically, you've got two options in his eyes. Option number one, you get the airdrop and you sell it. That's option number one. Option number two, you keep the airdrop and you farm the rewards forever and a day. They're his two options as far as he can see it, which is basically two sides of the same coin. You buy it or you sell it. Sorry, you hold it or you sell it. I get that. But this airdrop is going to happen. They've done a 45-page tokenomics white paper. That's going to take me a long time to get through, and I haven't even started it there. So before you ask, here is the list of tokens that you need to hold to get this airdrop. Now, I'm not saying that this is the list of tokens that we've been recommending to you for the last 2.5 years, but it's pretty damn close. Cardano, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, BNB. Okay, now the ones we haven't been recommending are BAT, which is a basic attention token, and Avalanche. And Avalanche we didn't recommend 2.5 years ago because it didn't do anything. Now it does a lot more things. I have all of them bar BAT. The majority of you should have 2 or 3 of them, and you're going to get those airdrops, and you're going to get the Night token. Okay, but there's more to the Night. There's more to the airdrop than just one token. There's going to be a second one. There's also the breakdown of who gets what. So during the Glacier drop, claim tokens are allocated to eligible claimants, but are initially frozen in a redemption smart contract on the Cardano network and will not be transferable before they gradually thaw during the redemption period. Okay, now, again, we don't know an awful lot about this. I'm probably going to make a video about it, and if I don't make a video about it, I'm going to read about it, and then I'm going to translate all of this for you. But this literally happened yesterday. And it's a massive thing, but I wanted to tell you about it so you could be aware. Number one, there is no point in buying any tokens now. It's too late. It happened 2 weeks ago. What you held 2 weeks ago determines your airdrop. That's it. And number two are the list of tokens that we've read out. You need $100 in any of those to be eligible. Now, again, something else to bear in mind. If you hold $100 of one of those tokens and you're airdropped $1 worth of Night, don't start kicking off. You hold $100 of a token, how much do you expect as an airdrop? Really? Now, if you hold $1 million of Bitcoin and you're airdropped $10 of Night, then maybe that's a bit of a slap in the face. But even then, it's free money. Nearly every dupe token I've got staked, nearly every single one of them was given them to be for free, okay, by trading on Solana, not because I've got a deal with them, but by trading on Solana, using the Solana blockchain, having NFTs, I got my dupe through that, and now I'm getting it from staking my dupe. It's all free. I've never complained about what I get from the airdrops because it's free money, and this level of entitlement that people have needs to stop. Whatever you get, it's a bonus. Very simply put, okay? It's a bonus and it should be treated as such. So I hope you all do incredibly well out of it. Until we see the tokenomics in depth, until we understand how it's going to work, until we understand what it's going to be worth, it's also very difficult for me to sit here and say buy or sell or hold because I don't know. I'm just telling you that it's happening. Now then, this is going from something exciting to something incredibly boring. Tariq, we don't know. But the second biggest Cardano influencer is probably DZ. And DZ is trying to compile all of the information about which exchanges are involved. As far as I'm aware, it would be foolish to think Binance and the other big 5 and 6 don't do this. It would be foolish to think that. And then a few other people have said, if your exchange does not give you the midnight airdrop, never use that exchange again. So I think the majority of exchanges are going to do it for you. Now, some people have said you're only going to get it if you have natively staked your Cardano. Again, we don't know. I've got some of my Cardano. I've got 2 lots of staked Cardano, but they're both on exchanges. Okay, I can't be bothered dealing with Daedalus wallets and Nodalis wallets, sorry. I can't be bothered with it all. I don't use native staking for everything I've got because I just can't be bothered. And I trust the exchanges that I'm with, including Binance. So why would I have to keep, 12 different sets of seed phrases? So again, I don't know the answer, but I'm pretty certain if you've got Cardano on Binance, you're going to get the airdrop. I can't say for certain, but I'm pretty much certain that you're going to get it. Right then. Now, this is the boring side of DeepIn. DeepIn, decentralized physical infrastructure networks. So think data centers, data hubs, lots and lots of servers in lots and lots of racks, lots of fans, lots of noise. That's a kind of a DeepIn level 1. DeepIn level 2 is having an app on your phone where you monitor noise, you monitor the temperature, whatever it might be. That is also DeepIn. Helium, where they offer their internet services, you get yourself a hub. That's DeepIn. Lots of things. Basically, anything that's physical that isn't in one spot could be classified as DeepIn. Now, this is the boring one, and this is data storage. Filecoin and Arweave. I'm not going to talk to you too much about the tokenomics of either of them. But basically, if you are Solana or any other major big blockchain, you need data storage. And Solana last year, maybe the year before, they partnered with Filecoin. But there are 2 options for you. Filecoin and Arweave. There's more options, but there's 2 in this article. And these are the two biggies. And exploring the lesser-known segments of the crypto world often uncovers hidden gems. Decentralized storage is one of those, and then you've got the 2 big players there. An in-depth look at these projects reveals they may be poised for significant growth amidst the evolving landscape. Now, again, these are slow burners. I told you the story years ago about Francis Lee, ex-Manchester City player. What did he do when he finished his career? He went and set up a recycling plant. The most boring thing in the universe. I think he recycled paper and turned it into toilet paper, whatever he did. And he made millions. 50 million when 50 million pounds was a lot of money. And then what did he do? He bought Manchester City. Okay? Storage units, recycling, PPE gear, hoodies, boring, Rainmax, umbrellas, boring industries where you make an awful lot of money. That is what storage is. And this is why they will both do incredibly well. But the problem with these is they need usage. And I reckon 90% of blockchains won't be here in 5 years' time. And if 90% of blockchains aren't in 5 years' time, then Arweave and Filecoin need to partner with the ones that are going to be here, such as Solana. Now, again, I'm not going to go through the price of these because I don't want to run out of time. But basically, they are the ones to go and look at. If you've got a real-world asset bag, if you've got a meme coin bag, and you're looking for another niche, the DeepIn sector is certainly one to look at. Now, we've been making videos about COM, which I've told you about before, made a few videos about COM. It's a tiny, tiny project. But what does it do? It sells GPU hours for 90% less than anyone else you've got in the market because it's decentralized. So they use GPUs from unused farms in Dubai and around the world. And instead of it costing you $10 to make a video, it costs you $1. They're talking to people about doing real-time rendering for games. It's a tiny, tiny project. And the reason I'm telling you about that is not to shill it. I'm telling you because it's a really good example about how DeepIn can work. DeepIn, the majority of of wealth and value from deep-in projects comes from using underutilized assets. Bitcoin, for example, is being mined using the flaring on oil rigs. It's being used from geothermal. France has been talking about using its unused energy to mine Bitcoin. So it's using existing things, but then monetizing them. And to some extent, decentralized storage is part of that. You're going to have huge data centers. If you think about it this way, if you've got a data center, you might have 1,000 terabytes of free space. You can use that with the likes of Filecoin or Arweave and make a profit on your unused space. So it's profitable. It's going to be more profitable. The bigger blockchains get, the more space they need. That's the way to think about it. So I'm not going to go into the prices. It's irrelevant. But if you want to get into deep-in, there's lots of deep-in projects. I don't like Helium. I do like Filecoin. I do like Arweave. I don't hold either of them. It's not my thing. But by all means, go and check them out. Anyway, we've got 2 articles and a Jupiter chart to look at, and the time is 11:45. Got 15 minutes. I think we might do it on time today. Yesterday I overran by 10 minutes. I do apologise. Today we're going to try and nail it for 12 o'clock. Make life a bit easier. Dupe holders panic sell after 80% crash. Dead or buying opportunity? Well, what do you think? Do you think it's dead? Do you think all those statistics I showed you yesterday point to a dead aggregator on Solana, the most popular blockchain in the world, or do you think it's all hyperbole? Dupe holders panic sell after 82% crash from $2.04 peak. The Dow was closed down. What I would say about that, go and have a look at the price of the majority of your tokens in January, and then have a look at the price of those tokens today. Is Dupe performing worse, better, or the same as your other projects? Now, there are, of course, exceptions. We are with Maple Finance. We like making videos about Maple Finance. We're an ambassador of Maple Finance. They've gone from 14 cents to 52 cents. There are the exception to the rule. Of course there are. But the majority of tokens are way off, way off their all-time highs in January. And even if Bitcoin's at $105,000, your alts are on the floor right now, being kicked in the nuts every time Bitcoin moves. Bitcoin goes down, your alts go down 3 times as much. That's why your portfolio should be roughly 60-70% Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay, now Ethereum is $2,400. It's been $2,400 for 35 years. I know that, but it's going to come good. Bitcoin, of course, has moved an awfully long way. So if you'd have held a Bitcoin Ethereum heavy portfolio, you'd be doing an awful lot better today than if you went out and bought coins, I don't know, 15 to 30, for example. They're all down. Hype isn't, of course. But look at where Ton's come down from, Sui's come down from. They've all come down a long way. So I don't think Dupe is outside of skepticism in terms of its price action. But look at where the price was. It was above $1 in February. Well, January was the all-time high for most of the alts this year. So, of course, it's going to have come down. I did say yesterday it was undervalued at 33 cents. I said it was massively undervalued at 33 cents. It's come down 82% to that. And I actually had to redraw the fib levels yesterday when I looked at the chart. That's how far it's come down. Again, what do I say? A project and the token value do not necessarily align like they do more so in stocks. In stocks, yes, you can have a really well-performing company and the share price could be in the gutter. But it's a lot rarer. In crypto, it's absolutely the thing. Jupiter's share price should be $1. Share price, token price should be $1. Of course it should. But it's nowhere near $1. So does that make it undervalued? In my opinion, yes. Is this the right thing for them to do and suspend the Dow? Absolutely the right thing to do. It did nothing but bring, what do the kids call it nowadays? Shade? to dupe because they got it wrong every time. We covered this yesterday, but I wanted to show you the chart because I know Tariq mentioned it. So they've turned off the Dow. I don't think dupe became Solana as big as this. My Christ, how can you compare dupe to Trump, Melania, or Libra? How is that not the biggest disappointment? What an absurd energy drain for such a talented team to continuously debate trivial working group compensation controversies. Again, I don't think it's as bad as this. I think two extremes to look at. I don't believe the working groups have been a massive success, but I also don't believe that they have cost Jupiter millions and millions of dollars. So if you don't try something, how are you ever going to know if it's going to work or not? They had plenty of money to test different things. Some of them have worked. There is a creator academy now where you can make content on dupe, and if it's good, they will reward you. It's a good thing. Now, like I said, I had to redraw this chart because it's come down so far. Now, the first thing that dupe has got to do when this finishes loading is it's got to get back to 50 cents. That's its first goal. And that is roughly just under the bull market support band here. So you can see, if we go back to January, okay? So this is when people are doing the comparison to, okay? Roughly here. Now, we can look at any chart on the majority of altcoins, and you will see, why does the Oracle insist on using black lines? There we go. The majority of coins have done this over the last, what are we now, 6 months? So this is no surprise. This is at this price, in my opinion, and things, of course, can change because maybe dupe goes to the wall. Maybe they don't do a good job of it, whatever. This is very much like ADA and XRP back when XRP was down at 30, 35, 40 cents. And I was telling you that this is, and I can't use that word these days, can I? This is the hit zone. This is the zone, if you want to accumulate dupe, this is the time to buy. 35 cents, 40 cents is the time to buy. Now, if you don't believe that this token has a future, you can look to sell and get out of it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's only got as high as $2. It's not got to $10 or $15, but it has a massive buyback scheme in place. It's buying back tokens and it's putting them in a trash can. So the first thing for me it's got to do is get above 50 cents. Then it's got to get back above the bull market support band. It tried valiantly here, and it didn't. So it's got to have another run at the bull market support band, get back above it, and then this is the range that I think I am comfortable in this range. And this is kind of 70 to 90 cents. I'm comfortable with it there. It's not $1, but 85 cents is close enough. So I'm happy for it to get back in there. So what I think is going to happen, as long as the you-know-whats stop falling, I think we see that. That's what I think. I think dupe has bottomed. And the reason that I think dupe has bottomed is very simply put. The cheaper this gets, the more it buys of its own token and sends to the trash can. So if the token is at $1, it can buy 1. If the token is at 33 cents, it buys 3. And then those tokens are gone. So having a massive buyback scheme, I think they bought 1.2 million last Sunday, I don't know. So if this keeps happening, it's great for the buyback because they'll be buying back 1 million a day. It's going to recover. This is too big, in my opinion, for it to fail. I stand by the fundamentals of Jupiter. They've burnt, was it 30% of the token supply has been burnt this year already? They're buying back and burning more. It's going to recover. I'm not going to sell my dupe. When it gets to $1.50 or $2, and we're getting towards November, I'll consider selling it at that point. If it doesn't get to the $5 that my target is for dupe, if it doesn't get there and it's struggling at maybe even $2.50, I'll consider selling it then. But until then, I'm not getting out of this token. I've seen way worse tokens than this, and this is not a bad token, and I am not giving up on it. And again, I have no skin in the game or commercial arrangement whatsoever with dupe. None at all. In fact, I sent them all the videos I made about dupe because they asked content creators to send in videos and then you'd be rewarded. Never heard from them. Didn't even send me $50. Okay? So, should I be aggrieved by that? I don't care. I'm not going to sell them. Doesn't matter if they don't like me. Still going to buy the tokens. You could be allergic to McDonald's, but you'd still hold the token because the share because it makes money. Right then. Again, we're going to get to the same point with this that we get to with NFTs. When are there too many stablecoins? Algorithmic stablecoins, dollar-pegged stablecoins, yield-bearing stablecoins, Bitcoin yielding stablecoins. I'm sure that one's going to be coming out. I think there's a room somewhere with people sitting there thinking about all the different permeations of stablecoins. Okay? I imagine it to be like Disney, okay? What character can we take from the 1940s or 50s and get a really annoying kid to play? You know, one that's going to rub everybody up the wrong way. We need that person. And then we need somebody who doesn't fit another character to play alongside them. And then we're going to put it live. And when no one likes it, we're going to call them names and say they need to be more, embracing of 2025. I think there is a stablecoin version of that room somewhere out there, and we're going to see all kinds of stablecoins, okay? But let me ask you this. If you come to crypto tomorrow, and you've never been in crypto tomorrow, and you need to get $1,000, do you buy USDT, USDC, PYUSD? Do you get Syrup USD? Do you get EUSD, FUSD, BUSD? Which one do you get? It makes no sense. For exchanges like Binance, clearly they need to just group them all together, and I think they did this last year, and I think a few other exchanges do the same thing as well. Just group them all together and call them USD. And then the only time it really matters is when you're trying to take the money off the exchange and you want to send it to Solana, or you want to send it to Ethereum, and then it has a name, okay? But at the end of the day, it's so baffling. You think about trying to get somebody to buy Bitcoin. They don't know what to buy USDC or USDT. Why should they have to make that decision? It's nonsense. And banks and financial institutions and some crypto exchanges, they're all getting their own stablecoin because it's a moneymaker, yes. But for the end user, it's going to absolutely baffle them. Imagine going on holiday. Let's say we're going to go on holiday and we're going to go and visit. Let me think of somebody in chat. We're going to go and visit the UK. And we're going to go to London. And just before you get on the plane, you think, I need to go and get some pounds, okay? And you go there and they've got GDP, 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 GBP. Which one do you get? And then the cashier says, well, get whichever one you like. It doesn't make any sense. So as far as this is concerned, it's just another example of more and more stable coins coming. I don't think we need them all. I think this is going to cause an absolute mess. I think stablecoin legislation is going to cause an absolute mess. And there needs to be a consolidation, in my opinion. Now, do the American government love stablecoins? Yes, because they buy US treasuries. Of course they do. They love them dearly. And they want as many as possible. But like that old saying, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I think that applies to stablecoins. Massively applies to stablecoins, as it applies to many other things. But I think stablecoins need to be reconsidered, and I think there needs to be a global standard that everybody agrees to, and if they don't agree to it, you kick them out. For example, I know in America, if you want to launch a USD stablecoin, you've got to have it regulated by the US, the SEC. That's absolutely fine, as it should be. But the EU are just sitting on the hands. So if the EU sit on the hands, what happens? It means that the American stablecoin industry is going to dominate the world. The entire world will run off the dollar, okay? And there will be no alternative. And that's it. So all this thing about the dollar going to the wall or being replaced by the yen or whatever, if US dollars become the currency of crypto, the currency of Web3, it is never going to die. And in addition to that, they will be able to print as much as they can because everybody's going to buy the dollar, which is going to prop the dollar up. So do they want stable coins? Yes. Is it going to help the American economy? Yes. Is it necessarily a good thing for the entire globe? Not necessarily. So just be careful. Anyway, got to the end of the show. It's 12 o'clock, so we've nearly finished. 2 things I need to mention very quickly. Tomorrow night. Did I point that way? No, point that way. If I do that. That is tomorrow night. It is the quiz night where Tariq will finish in the top 3. That's my prediction. Tariq will win tomorrow night. That's my prediction. Although I might pick somebody else in chat to be the mascot of, because I think Tariq came 4th on Wednesday. 30 questions, 1 hour, 3 winners. We're going to give away Mew. Mew is now on Binance. Before anybody says anything, it's on Binance Alpha. You can now buy Mew on Binance Alpha. We're going to give you some Mew, number 1. Number 2, Crypto Warehouse Ambassadors. If you're all asleep, wake up now. Crypto Warehouse Ambassadors. We need 1 or 2 people to come and work with us to help promote our videos, promote our tweets, do some research for us, find us interviews, those kind of things. The only thing you'll need is a blue check mark on X, because unfortunately on X you won't get anywhere. If you don't have a blue check mark, you can't contact people, you can't DM people. It's a real pain in the backside. So you will need to have a check mark, and you will need to have some experience, and you'll ideally need to have a Twitter account that doesn't have a follow account of 0. We're going to open it up to more people if we don't get the people we want out of the OGs and the regulars. So if you're interested, you know where I am on Telegram. Come and DM me. I'll send you the video. If you think you fit or you think you have the time to do it, DM me. I'm not going to DM you because we already have 2 live Telegram copiers and we have an X copier that's copied my accounts and contacting people. So I'm never going to contact you. I'm never going to DM you until you DM me first, okay? So take care, everybody. I'm going to see you tomorrow night. There's no stream in the day tomorrow. I will be on tomorrow night with the Oracle. The Oracle is on tonight, I believe, at 9 o'clock. So if you want to watch the Oracle tonight, talk about all things charties, then make sure to log on. I'll drop the video probably onto Binance soon, and then I will drop it into Telegram so you all know where he is. So until tomorrow, adios. Thank you for watching. Have a great Tuesday.